Hello, everyone. Today I'll be going over how I acquired three duplexes, a total of 6 units since 2020, and the 10 lessons that I learned along the way. First, hit the like button, subscribe, and make sure you watch till the end of this video because the biggest lesson I learned is going to be at the end. All right, lesson number one, start with a minimum of 3 units. The more units, the better. Multifamily real estate is a business of its own, so the more sources of income, the better. In an instance of a duplex, if one tenant moves out, you now have a 50% vacancy and 50% of the income is gone. So the more units, the better. Number two, and the one that you probably hear the most, location is everything. The first duplex that I bought was on a busy highway across from a cemetery. I quickly realized that not everyone wants to live on a busy highway across from a cemetery. So my future tenant pool was diminished significantly. It's imperative to make sure that you utilize the current rental numbers when you underwrite a real estate deal. It's very easy to get caught up in the pro forma numbers of what the property will potentially make in the future. However, this can get you underwater very fast and make you make sense of a deal that doesn't actually make sense by overpaying for it. So make sure that the numbers make sense and work with the current rental numbers that are currently in place. Next, and one of the bigger ones is if you're inheriting a tenant, make sure you know who they are and what kind of person they are. The biggest issues I've had are with inherited tenants. One, trashed the place as soon as they moved out, and two, had someone else move in after I closed on the actual property that wasn't on the initial lease agreement. This was an awkward conversation for my first rental property, but I realized very quickly I should have done my due diligence before and known what kind of tenants I was getting involved with and getting into a marriage with, essentially. Quick break here, and then I'll be getting back to the normal scheduled programming. I am a licensed real estate agent, so if you're looking for a deal in New Hampshire and want some guidance, shoot me an email at porter, Porter, cap01 at gmail.com, and I'll be able to help you out and get you into a place of your own. Number five, issues happen with properties. So make sure that you have a good, strong relationship with your tenants. So that way, if there's an issue that happens, they reach out to you, you formulate a plan to get it fixed, you get it fixed, and everyone's happy. This works in many ways and helps in many ways. It keeps the tenant happy because if they have an issue, they know that they can get a response on it as soon as possible and be back to square one and back to normal. It also is great for you because say something happened with your toilet, their toilet, or whatever it may be, breaks, causes a flood, and then you take an extended period of time to get it fixed, it causes more damage and more headaches. So if you have a good, strong relationship with your tenants, this mitigates this and helps the tenant treat the property as if it was their own. Next, learn how to set up direct deposit. I didn't anticipate this one being an issue, but it certainly was one very fast. What happened is rent was due and I wasn't able to get back to get the rent collected to then deposit the money to then pay the bills. So make sure you have direct deposit set up. It's also easier for the tenant because of the fact that they can just have the money pulled out of their account. They don't have to think about it. So this ultimately is a little bit easier for them while also being easier for you. Next one is heating expense. If you live in a climate where you do have heating every single month, then it's important to know what those expenses are before you get into them. Now, I experienced this early on because I didn't set aside money every single month, and I was faced with the unfortunate reality that heating around here is actually $500 a month in the wintertime. So make sure you set aside that money every single month so that way it's there when the heating season comes. The next one is have a streamlined process with issues. So when an issue arises, you have the same resolution process for each issue. What works best for me is first the tenant files a maintenance order through their online portal. Then I reach out to the tenant within 24 hours to gather additional intel on what exactly happened. From there, I decide if it's something I can fix or if outside expertise is required. Fourth, I'll schedule myself or outside expertise to go resolve the issue with providing a 48-hour notice to the tenant or sooner, depending on the urgency. Number 9, and one of the big ones, If you have an issue that requires outside expertise, make sure you get 3 quotes and select the best one. If you find that you have a contractor that consistently gives better quotes than others and you're consistently hiring them, make sure you treat them well. Don't constantly haggle on price. I found that this has been extremely important because if you haggle on price, it'll put a sour taste in the contractor's mouth and they'll very quickly stop answering your calls. So make sure you treat them well. Doesn't hurt to continue to kind of look at other quotes just to make sure they're still within the appropriate range, but treat them well. And number 10, the most important one, make sure that you keep tenant landlord relationships professional and concise. It's very easy to become friendly with your tenant, but it's important to make sure that you set expectations from the start, stick to those expectations, and whatever you say is what you do. What happens is if you start to become too friendly with your tenant, they start to ask for favors, and then next thing you know, rent's due and they're asking for a couple extra days extension because you know they're good for it. Don't do it. Keep it professional, keep it concise, and stick to the expectations that you set from the beginning. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're interested in finance, go check out one of my other videos over here, over there, somewhere. And also, if you're local to the New Hampshire area, don't forget to shoot me an email at porter, portercap01 @gmail.com.